All right, good morning, gang. It is Monday so quickly. Just about 7:15. Yeah, Monday morning, May 18th, and another month of stay-at-home order from our Vermont governor. We've got at least until June 15th. Will it go longer than that? We're watching news. I'm watching news all the time to see how things are developing here in Vermont. We're going to give you some Vermont headlines here in just a second. And Mark Herrera is going to be my guest this morning, who's an expert on, well, venue management and public safety, whether or not some of these large gatherings, major events, whether it's sporting events, concerts, or otherwise, what the forecast is for this coming summer. What will be open? And if it will be open, how will it be different? Safe to say that everything already has changed and it will be changed for quite a while. A very good morning and welcome to a new week. Listen, if you missed the Queen of Optimism late last week, Shelley Roxanne, number one best-selling author of a book called The Frustrated Believer. She is on my podcast, and you've got to go back and watch it from last Thursday. She is the chief optimist at She Rocks Enterprises, and she is fantastic. That was one show last Thursday that was definitely not to miss. I hope you're doing well. Again, just about 7:17, and Mark Herrera is going to be on with me in just a few minutes. Wait till you hear this guy. Listen, if you're a Red Sox fan or if you know someone that is, this is definitely one not to miss because he's going to be painting a pretty accurate picture on when Major League Baseball is going to start swinging bats. Daily Dose of Feel Good. Did you see Queen on YouTube this weekend? I think it was on for like 48 hours. Their 1992 Freddie Mercury tribute concert on YouTube was incredible. It took place at Wembley Stadium in London just a couple of months after Freddie Mercury died from AIDS, and it was awesome. It only went for, again, about 48 hours. Proceeds from the stream went to the World Health Organization and its COVID-19 relief efforts. I hope you got a chance to see the show on YouTube this weekend. Had the music cranking and got out and enjoyed some of the great weather yesterday in the garden, which is really reminding me that my body is aging. When when you when you start gardening uh, a little later in life, it just wow. After even a couple of hours, stiffness, achy, amazing. We got a pretty nice day ahead. Actually, a pretty good week ahead weather-wise. Finally, it seems like we've got that snap. Roger Hill is saying plenty of sunshine, just a few clouds here and there, but for the most part, going to be real nice. Not sure what happened about Saturday. It was supposed to be just beautiful and warm, like what, upper 60s or something like that with a whole lot of sunshine. It turned out to be downright blustery and cloudy and cold. But we are through the weekend. We're into a new week, and I'm looking forward to the forecast. Hey, Vermont news quickly here this morning, and then Mark Herrera is going to be joining up with us in just a few minutes to talk about big arenas, uh, big sporting events. We're going to talk NFL, NHL, MLB, and also concert venues and whether or not they're going to be opening up, and if so, how so. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Don't miss it. State officials are confirming that we have 7 new cases and 1 new death from coronavirus in Vermont. Again, this is news that is just out this morning. I'm always trying to watch the very latest of what's going on with Vermont news, but that is up to the minute that we have this information. The total number of positive tests in Vermont now is 940, with a total of 54 deaths in Vermont since this pandemic began. 54 in our little state. So disturbing. Only 3 people are hospitalized in Vermont right now with confirmed cases of COVID-19. 11 others are hospitalized under investigation for the virus, and 20 people have symptoms and are being monitored right now. State of Vermont is receiving $55 million from the federal government to support coronavirus testing. You've seen the pop-up testing sites everywhere across our state. The funds are part of $25 billion included in the federal stimulus package passed this spring for expanded testing. A lot of money. Close to $4 million of the funding will support testing at community health centers across our state. The state has not disclosed what the rest of the money will be used for. Trust me, I'll be watching the news for you. Constantly pinging on the phone. So I've got a couple of different apps. I'm watching the very latest. And if I find out, I'll be sure to let you know. A judge is ordering a Rutland area gym owner to close his facilities. The owner of Club Fitness in Vermont reportedly has been opening despite Governor Phil Scott's stay-at-home order. Wow. Attorney General T.J. Donovan went to court on Friday in an effort to force the gym owner, Sean Manaville, to adhere to the governor's order. The operation of in-person indoor gym operations are not allowed as the state seeks to slow the spread of coronavirus. What a bimbo. Opening up his gym. My God. Really? University of Vermont students will, oh, JD, you don't own a gym, so you don't know what it's like. You don't have a business with doors out front that you can keep open or please. We've got 54 dead Vermonters. Anyway, University of Vermont students will not be facing a tuition increase in the fall. The College Board of Trustees has voted not to increase tuition or fees for in-state or out-of-state students. Yeah. Let's see. National headlines. Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar is stressing an urgency for states to reopen the economy. On CNN's State of the Union, the secretary noted that President Trump has left decisions up to local leaders. Is that a dangerous thing? When you get to local leaders, they're all different. They all have different mindsets around COVID-19. Some are a little bit more loosey-goosey. Others a little bit more stringent. Is that a recipe for more disaster? I wonder. Maybe I'll try to post that up on Facebook later today. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says the economy will start recovering once the coronavirus is under control. In an interview with 60 Minutes on CBS, Powell predicted the U.S. economy won't recover until people feel confident they are safe. He noted the sooner the virus gets controlled, the sooner the economy can reopen. And he believes there will be an improvement in the economy in the second half of the year. Hopefully he is going to be accurate with this. However, he does worry a second wave of the virus will undergo any progress and cause more damage to the economy. Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about that it's going to, there's going to be some comings and goings, some waves of this coronavirus. I don't know if you heard Dr. Tom Frieden, the CDC director, over the weekend talking about this, but many are worried about the second wave later this year. He was on Fox News Sunday yesterday talking about this and basically saying it's a lot worse than the flu and that we're likely going to have to battle this virus multiple times. Officials in Northern California say 180 people were possibly exposed to the coronavirus at a Mother's Day church service. What is going on in Northern California? Why are churches opening up for large gatherings? Supposed to be prohibited under the state's stay-at-home order. Baffles me. Who's this guy that opened up his church? Don't understand it. Again, Mark Herrera is going to be joining up with me here in just a couple of minutes. He's an expert on large venues and the public safety of them. And he's got his thumb on the beat of whether or not we're going to see Major League Baseball, concert events, and the like. He's going to be on the air with me here in just a few minutes. In an effort to demonstrate the ease and speed of COVID-19 diagnostic tests, the New York Governor, Andrew Cuomo, actually took one at his Sunday press briefing yesterday. He explained that there are now 700 testing facilities across the state and added that the sites are available to anyone who's demonstrating symptoms, anyone recently in contact with someone who was tested positive for the virus, and any essential workers. He announced that this criteria is now being extended to anyone who is slated to return to work during phase 1 of the reopening. Important stuff, you bet. This is a neighboring state of ours, so I'm going to be passing this stuff along to you. The governor then invited a physician up to his table and stood there while she performed a nasal swab test on him. Only took a few seconds. Despite the announcement that beaches are going to be open on Memorial Day in New York and Connecticut and Delaware and New Jersey, beaches in New York City will remain closed during the holiday. Mayor Bill de Blasio says basically it's just too risky. It is not safe, and people will be allowed to walk on the beach as long as they practice the 6-foot social distancing rules, but the water is off limits. Bill, if you're listening this morning, many of us here in Vermont wouldn't necessarily be interested in swimming in the waters off of New York City anyway. You ought to come up here to Vermont if you want to see some nice clean water. Looks like every day doctors are learning something new about this whole COVID-19. It was once thought that children showed only mild effects, but now Dr. Rob Sanders at the University Health System in San Antonio says they're now seeing pediatric patients with rashes and frostbite-like symptoms on their feet. This is a story that I first heard about, I think about 2 weeks ago. It looks kind of like a hand and foot disease, or I can't remember what it's called, foot and mouth disease, something like that. That started in England, but they're now calling this condition COVID toes, and the symptoms tend to show up 6 weeks after a patient is infected with the coronavirus. Anyway, is it hand and mouth? I can't remember. But anyway, not cool at all. Let's see. I wanted to tell you American Idol's coming back for another season. ABC has renewed the competition for a 4th season. Was canceled, but revived by ABC. And let's see, just wrapped up its season 3 finale last night, crowning Just Same from Harlem as the winner. Let's see, What else do we have in the Boob Tube report here this morning? Oh, Verizon Media is getting ready to launch a wellness event series. It's called Reset Your Mindset, a two-part event that's going to be live streamed on Yahoo. It'll feature some of the biggest names in entertainment, wellness, sports, business, fitness, and so on and so forth. The first event's going to take place on May 20th. That's Wednesday? It'll feature Michael Phelps, Deepak Chopra, who I learned about last night from Sherilyn, who was talking all about this guy, and I'm fascinated with him already, just in a few short hours. Mark Cuban and many more. The second event will be held on May 27th, so be watching for that. Sports this morning, Kevin Harvick got the checkers. Congratulations to him. We have the 10-part docuseries about Michael Jordan and the 90s Bulls in the books after the final 2 episodes aired last night. With their title win over the Utah Jazz. And episode 10 focused mainly on the Bulls beating the Jazz for their 6th championship in 1998. Ended with the team celebrating in Grant Park. NFL will allow teams to reopen their practice facilities starting tomorrow, contingent on state and local regulations. No coaches are allowed, and only players rehabbing an injury will be allowed to attend. I want to try to connect in with Mark Cabrera in just a minute here. He is an expert on this type of stuff and what's going to be happening with our sporting events. My guest this morning, and we're watching for him. We are watching for him. But yeah, there's these are crazy times. No question about it. No question about it. What else do we have? Just glancing here. NHL making some ground on having a plan in place for the playoffs should the season resume amid COVID-19. Apparently, there would be games played before a 2014 playoff would take place after the return to play committee settles on a format. 31 player reps would have to vote on it for approval. Did I mention the Major League Baseball draft is going to be held remotely? According to ESPN this morning, teams will not be allowed to have a draft room and will make all selections via video conference. Wow, what a bummer. First round takes place June 10th. Rounds 2 through 5 will be the next day on the 11th. Incredible. Music news, just quickly here. One group of bands is still holding out to see if they can hold their tour. Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison, all waiting for word from Live Nation about the fate of their upcoming stadium tour. Bret Michaels telling the Arizona Republic that the current situation is, we just don't know. However, he said if the tour isn't given the go-ahead, it will just be postponed, which we've heard from many musicians who are trying to make this all work and all happen. It is definitely not an easy time for musicians, big and small. It doesn't matter what platform you're on, whether it's performing locally or otherwise. or if you're Bret Michaels. These definitely are difficult times. During an interview with Andy Cohen live on Sirius XM, Fox Sports broadcaster Joe Buck has stirred the pot a little bit. He said that the network might pump in crowd noise, and if that's not enough, possibly even project virtual fans in empty stadiums during their broadcasts. And he is quoted as saying it's pretty much a done deal. I think whoever is going to be at that control is going to have to be really good at their job and be realistic with how a crowd would react depending on what just happened on the field. Those are the words of Joe Buck yesterday. I don't know about you, but just hearing that news makes me wonder, and I'm not, and I'll be the first to admit it, I am not an intense baseball fan by any means. But, and I know that I have plenty of friends who are, but should we go to this kind of extreme to get the season in, and frankly, get the players their salaries? What should happen? Should the whole season just be bagged completely, and players, when I say players, I'm not just talking about baseball. I'm talking about anything that's going to be affected by COVID-19. Players just not be paid. And I was chatting with a friend about this who said, absolutely, that should be the case, as if they haven't received enough money already in past years. Well, I understand that sentiment, but I also understand that it's just not that simple. It's just not that easy. There's contracts, there's all kinds of lawyers involved, and it's very detailed, and it can get very messy very quickly. We're going to try to connect here with Mark Herrera, who is an expert on all of this kind of stuff, and we're just waiting for him to link in this morning and join. But pumping in crowd noise during baseball games or any other kind of game is, I don't know. It's that just kind of bums me out a little bit that we would have to go down that road, that we would have to do that. Does the show really have to go on? And putting virtual fans in the stands, what is that? Is that like mannequins, like some of these restaurants are doing down south to promote social distancing? They're actually putting mannequins in booths, which basically is a nice way of saying, please don't stare, because it's probably going to be too close to the guy the other booth. So they're putting mannequins dressed up in like 40s attire. What are we gonna have? We're gonna have mannequins in the stands, or are we gonna have CGI stuff? Is Hollywood coming into the major ballparks? and putting fake fans, computer-generated virtual fans in the stands. And yeah, Joe Buck has a great point. Whoever's got the job of hitting the buttons for background crowd noise, they do have a pretty intense job. I mean, how many different types of cheers are they going to have? 50, 100? Of the different home run sounds, what are you going to have? 20? I don't know. So the Philadelphia Inquirer says, as part of its plan for launching the 2020 season, Major League Baseball intends to work with a Utah-based lab that will offer widespread COVID-19 testing to players and essential staff. The Sports Medicine Research and Testing Laboratory, which conducts Major League Baseball's tests for performance-enhancing drugs, is going to be behind this. And they say they're going to turn around results within 24 hours. They had just had this big CNN town hall on this. And with that system of testing, Major League Baseball believes that players could be tested at least weekly and perhaps more often during the course of the abbreviated season. The commissioner, Rob Manfred, said, and I'm quoting here, "We feel comfortable that by doing multiple tests a week and trying to minimize that turnaround time," I'm quoting here, "that we're doing everything humanly possible to make sure that the players are safe, that they would also receive daily temperature checks." This is the commissioner speaking out. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to make this all happen, and how it's all going to be pulled off is anybody's guess. The testing and the artificial crowd noise, virtual fans, and there's some out there that say, a big deal. Could really care less whether or not it's artificial crowd noise. Don't really care whether or not I see virtual fans in the stands or not. And again, this doesn't matter if it's baseball, if it's hockey, football. There's plenty that say, don't care, just let the players play. Bring us the broadcast. We want to see our team play. We just want to see the sport taking place. And again, I'm not a crazy sports enthusiast, but I have plenty of friends who are, and they're off the top. Huge fans. And for this stuff is a really big deal. I have my hobbies and my interests and my things that I love. And watching sports on TV doesn't necessarily fall into the category of the things that I absolutely love to do. I enjoy doing that, and I enjoy doing it with friends, sitting back and watching a game, whatever it may be. But there are plenty of folks. My brother's one of them who, if he misses a Pittsburgh Steelers game for any reason, if something major happened over at his house and he ended up in the emergency room for any reason on a night when the Steelers were playing, he would be devastated that he was missing the game. And I'm sure there's folks out there that, like me, that kind of scratch their head and say, I just can't imagine being like that. But respectfully, there are plenty that are like that. And for the Red Sox or the Patriots or anybody to not be playing would be huge. And then you get folks like Rusty Deweese, like, I could care less whether or not everything was with sporting was not happening. And I say that in jest because Russ is a great guy, and he and I share the same sentiment that plenty of respect for the people that just love to watch sports. But the residual on this is going to be something that's going to be lasting for sure. What else did he say? The commissioner of baseball. He told CNN that Major League Baseball has been advised that the leagues won't have to suspend the season if and when a player or staff member tests positive for COVID-19. And that's the other question. What if half the team is testing positive? What happens then? What happens then to all of the bracketing? I wonder. And it's huge in Korea too, and they're kind of dealing with the same thing over there. They indicated that that their baseball season was going to be shut down for a couple of weeks in the event of a positive test, let alone tests. That is a circumstance that has not yet arisen, so that's good news for baseball fans in Korea, South Korea. But Manfred said the positive individual will be removed from the rest of the group. There will be a quarantine arrangement in each facility and each city. And then we'll do contact tracing for the individuals that we believe there was contact with. Again, this is the commissioner speaking out. Again, we'll do contact tracing for the individuals that we believe there was contact with, and point of care testing for those individuals to minimize the likelihood that there's been a spread. End quote. This is Rob Manfred, the commissioner, who was speaking out at a CNN town hall on Thursday night, talking about this. Messy. Don't forget, you can post your comments here right on the YouTube stream, and we'd appreciate that. See what you got going on. Still waiting for Mark to join us. I'm not sure if he's having some issues on his end, but it looks like we may not be connecting with him this morning. We're still watching for him to join in. Let's see, what else do we have from Commissioner Manfred here? It remains to be seen whether Major League Baseball's testing plans will be met with satisfaction from players. A lot of players. Likewise, the medical community figures to offer an opinion. So I think, and I posted this last night on Facebook, if Major League Baseball reaches an agreement with the players, what would the shortened season look like? If it is shortened anymore, what would it look like? And again, this does not consider the number of players who are being tested and coming back with a positive result for COVID-19. You get one guy on a team that tests positive. You know, one player out of many, many, many players. And again, we're not just talking about baseball here. We're talking everything. I mean, training camp for NFL is, let's be honest, it's pretty much tomorrow. You get one player that's tested positive, or two, or half a dozen. What happens to everything? What happens to training facilities? What happens to coaching? And ultimately, what happens to the season of play, and whether or not how it's going to be affected, whether or not it's going to be interrupted. Very complicated stuff, and I am thrilled that I'm not part of the decision-making progress or process that is part of this. But yeah, and like I said, it's very complicated. It is definitely something that is just not easy. Yeah, at all. So I'm sorry we weren't able to get Mark Herrera on this morning. I'm hoping that we'll be able to reschedule with him. He is a pretty amazing guy. I'm not sure if he's, and as you could really imagine, probably one of the busiest dudes on the planet right now, dealing with everything that he is dealing with. He is an expert on dealing with sporting facilities, venues, and whether or not they're going to be opening up. Venue safety is what he's dialed into big time, and he is dealing constantly with managers of large sports and music and concert performance venues, and is working very closely with the CDC on plans to safely reopen these venues. And I'm guessing this morning that he's got an awful lot on his plate and was not able to make Aired Out. But I'm hoping to be able to reschedule with him. I wanted to ask him about Joe Buck. During an interview with Andy Cohen live on Sirius XM, Joe Buck, who many of you know is a Fox Sports broadcaster, said that the network might be pumping in crowd noise and project virtual fans in empty stadiums during their broadcasts. And he said, and this is already really kicked up quite a bit of controversy. He said on Andy Cohen, and I'm quoting here, "It's pretty much a done deal. I think whoever is going to be at that control of the artificial crowd noise is going to have to be really good at their job and be realistic with how a crowd would react depending on what just happened on the field." End quote from Joe Buck. And on top of that, they're looking at ways to put virtual fans in the stands. So when you see a wide shot, it looks like the stadium is jam-packed, when in fact it is empty. Will we have anybody zooming into that guy picking his nose? I don't know. Anyway, we're going to close out this morning with a little bit of wacky world news. I saw this and I said, I got to talk about this. Cleveland, Ohio, puzzles all the rage during this whole coronavirus lockdown. I've got one that I'm still waiting to. I just need to do. I've got two actually. I've got two puzzles. One's my Fred Swan puzzle, and the other one I'll share with you. It's more complicated than that. But Heinz Ketchup just created a puzzle where every piece looks the same. It's because every piece is red. All 570 pieces are red. And Sherilyn was telling me they've done something like this before in the past, but the puzzle was part of a contest promotion that just wrapped up. Only 57 people will win Heinz. I'm not sure what they're going to get. Heinz Ketchup for life? I don't know. The slowest puzzle on earth is what Heinz is calling it. But 57 people apparently were given this puzzle, and it was a challenge of who could put it together the quickest. Also, Blow Up Dolls, and I mentioned this earlier, coming to the rescue in South Carolina, and not in the way that you might think. 10 of them are on full display at a restaurant. They're dressed like workers and sitting in booths. The owner just reopened and didn't want to use caution tape to block off tables, so she came up with this idea. I did. I said she. It enforces social distancing and amuses customers. Some say they love sitting next to a quiet table. Yes. Taylor's, South Carolina, actual blow-up dolls. Wow. And then there was another one. There's a restaurant in Virginia. And VPR was doing a little bit of this yesterday on Wait, Don't Tell Me. They're doing mannequins, well dressed too, decked out in 1940s fashion. It's called the Inn at Little Washington. That's the name of the restaurant, and they're using them to fill empty seats during the COVID-19 thing and encourage social distancing. And get this, servers will have to pour them wine and ask about their evening. Okay. Mannequins dressed up in 40s fashion. That's in Virginia. But if you want to head over to South Carolina, Blow Up Dolls. Not sure if they'll be dressed or not. Lily's going to be thrilled about this. Make way for Elmo, the Sesame Street Muppet, getting his own talk show now. Mark Miller, if you're watching, I know you're going to be thrilled, as am I. He's going to host the Not Too Late show with Elmo from his living room with Cookie Monster as his sidekick. Each episode is going to be 15 minutes and include a celebrity guest. They're going to talk about a specific bedtime ritual, like reading a book or brushing your teeth. The show is going to start streaming May 27th on HBO Max, and it's going to run for 13 weeks. So, pretty amazing. Hey, before I go, I want to thank my presenting sponsors who have made my daily podcast not only a success, but also possible, quite frankly. I appreciate them so much. You've heard me talk a whole lot about ArrowMed Essentials at arrowmedessentials.com. Lauren Andrews is the owner. She has been very busy in her State Street, Montpelier location, redesigning and remodeling the inside of her store there in anticipation of opening up her doors to the public. And she's been very busy at it. But she is just a great lady with just a whole lot of knowledge about, just general health and learning and exploring the possibilities and discovering all of the benefits behind not only essential oils, but the pressed mushrooms, which I have a lot to learn about. The mushroom oils, I've got to try at some point. But also CBD, cannabinoid oil. That's how you say it. I think. I've heard a couple of different versions of it, but she's just a great lady, and she knows what she's doing. She's an expert. Used to be an RN. I might even say still is, because she really, really knows about alternatives to prescriptions. And there's a whole lot of them. There's a lot of hidden secrets that she is unveiling over there at Aromed Essentials. She knows her stuff. This is the turmeric and ginger CBD oil, which they sell in different milligram dosage. This is the 500 milligrams, but they also sell a 1,000 milligram bottle. Not only does this full spectrum CO2 extracted stuff taste great, but it has a fantastic and quickly acting response to your body. If I know that I'm going to be spending a good part of the day in the garden, I will take a couple of drops under the tongue shortly before I get out there. Drink plenty of water to stay hydrated. Keep your joints properly lubricated, and that's really all I need. That and some bug spray. These damn black flies, holy crap. They just came out of nowhere with the warmer temperatures. But I love these CBD. By the way, Lauren has got a remedy for that too. The black flies, she's got a special concoction over there of geranium, and I've got to get her on my show because I can't remember what else, but she's got some essential oils that'll keep the black flies and the mosquitoes away from you. AromedEssentials.com is the website. If you would like to order something by phone, my advice, my suggestion, get on the website, look around, figure out what you want or what you might have questions about, and then call Lauren directly at 505-1405. She can place the order with you right there over the phone and get it shipped out to your home. It's that simple. Aromed Essentials, check them out. Fontaine Forestry and Millwork. As soon as I'm done this morning, I'm going to be on the phone with Mark Fontaine. Excited about getting my order in for fencing and cedar posts and a couple other things. I hope Lily's not listening on the other side of the door, but maybe a little bit of a tree house. Anyway, rough cut, finished. It doesn't matter what kind of lumber it is. It's all harvested locally. Quality hardwoods. They do it all. And they've got the hemlock bark mulch and the cedar mulch right now, along with wood chips. Very popular. And it's all fresh. It's all right there on Route 14, just below Bragg Farm. It's $5 a bag, which is a 2 cubic foot bag for the hemlock bark mulch. And you just pull up, you give them a credit card or cash or whatever, they'll load it right into your car for you, and you'll be on your way. The 2 cubic foot bags, $5 a bag. If you get 5 or more, they're $4 a bag. So if you need to do some sprucing up at home, you need some fresh hemlock bark mulch, buy local. Price is fantastic. Get yourself over to Fontaine Forestry and Millwork on Route 14. Again, if you've gone to Bragg Farm, you've gone just a little bit too far. You can't miss them. They're back there on the right. And they're great people, Mark and Sharon and the rest of the family. Have a look at that miser saw while you're there, or their kiln that they've made. The place is fascinating. It really is. It is just awesome. Fontaine Forestry and Millwork, another one of my presenting sponsors. Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange with Trash King Trash Removal. Trash King, Jason might need to clone himself because he's got a lot going on. Trash King is just taken off. He is so busy with that. He's got an incredible trailer, dump trailer. He'll come right in. He'll remove your trash weekly, bi-weekly, one time. If you got a garage or a barn that needs to be cleared out, he'll take good care of you. But his weekly trash removal service is less expensive than the big dogs that are out there, and he is reliable with a capital R. And this is in addition, Trash King, in addition to his landscaping biz and property maintenance biz, Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance, mowing, weed whacking, trimming, landscaping. This guy is a craftsman. He is a craftsman, meticulous. I might even say an artist when it comes to landscaping. He is so good. We're going to post up a few more pictures from Gauthier's Quality Grounds and Maintenance of Orange up on the Facebook page. Supporting sponsors, Peak Entertainment, Donnybrook Fight Promotion, FGB Theaters, CW Print and Design, Pick 333, McGaskill's Custom Carpentry. He's going to be over here real soon, working on my pathetic deck that collapsed with the weight of the snow, and a few other things, some windows and some siding, maybe. We'll see. And Dupree's Towing out of Sharon, Johnny Dupree. Want to also say thank you to Tony Campos and Central Vermont Television, CVTV723.org. Even though I'm not in their studios anymore, I will be back over there. Your local cable channel 192 and 194. A great guy and a great community service over there, Central Vermont Television. Fly on the Wall Productions as well. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to share, to comment, to like, to subscribe to Aired Out here on YouTube. Have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Be well. And as I always say, please, if you can, take care of one another.